Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 88, Top 5 Rappers Right Now. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, I will be giving you the sequel to my whole top 5 rappers of all time list, and I will be telling you my top 5 rappers right now.
Weezy, come on baby!
So the criteria for this is going to be slightly different, and there are most likely going to be some surprises in there for you guys as well. Of course, later in the episode, I'll be giving my whole Week 2 NFL thoughts, and reactions and MLB coverage as well, in my whole sports recap. Then I have a really powerful clip coming from 53-year-old dunker, someone who I've followed and been a fan of his story for years now, Andy Nicholson, aka the over-the-hill dunker, and I talk about why he's showing us that anything is possible, and how decline isn't this inevitable thing as we age, in spite of what you may have been told. I then have a post I want to share about why you shouldn't delete the post with no likes, and this ties into what our worth actually is, and where it comes from, and realizing that our impact, especially as content creators, doesn't only come from views and likes, but sometimes the best posts aren't the ones that have the most likes.
It just don't add up!
And if you're creating content that you're proud of, and you work hard on it and post it consistently, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Your story could end up being the resilient story that inspires others for years to come, which is why I keep up with all my posts and videos, even the ones that have only one like, and that one like being from me. And finally, before the whole sports recap, I talk about a powerful post coming from Andy Frisella about how yes, it's true that some people have it easier, and you of course have no control over that, but you have an advantage that you might be overlooking right now. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys know, it must mean now subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All links purchased on my website, which is jaredbryanweiss.com. It's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure you check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton. Every shirt is its own motivational saying, so it's words in it. And also check out this new shirt that I got of my own. This one says unbreakable, unshakable, undeniable. So really cool stuff in my opinion. So any support at all, as I was saying, would be very much appreciated. So the first clip I'm going to be sharing is coming from Andy Nicholson, aka the over-the-hill dunker, and he's 53 years old, and he's still chasing all of his dunk goals, which I think is super powerful. So the clip doesn't actually have any words in it, but the caption says, "My old man dunk journey, age 39 to 53. So you can see 2011 he touched the rim, 2011 he's touching the rim. 4 months later at age 39 he gets his first dunk. How it's gone since, you see 41 he's dunking, 42 he's dunking, 43, 44 he throws down a sick dunk in a contest I believe if I remember correctly. So for those of you who are just listening, this is really cool stuff. He's dunking as he gets older into his 50s. 52 at the dunk camp, throws down, and 53 in 2025 most recently, he dunked again, which is incredible. So Andy's been one of my favorite people to follow on social media over the past several years now, being that I'm an aspiring dunker myself, who's been on my own dunk journey for years now, and I'm also a lifelong athlete and basketball player, and someone who strongly believes that anything is possible. So as we saw in that clip, Andy started his dunk journey at 39 years old. An age where most people will try to tell you that athletes are going to slow down and can't be as strong or can't be explosive.
Too old!
Andy didn't believe this and he didn't accept those limits. Now he's 53 years old and still throwing down at 5'11". Call him an outlier or call him an anomaly, but I've been following him for years and I don't see any crazy genetics or any crazy things about him that set him apart from anyone else aside from his crazy work ethic and belief in himself. So I love seeing people who prove the conventional wisdom wrong, because it shows us what's possible when we choose to believe in ourselves and believe in our potential over our limitations. Especially because most of these limits are either placed on us wrongly or are self-imposed. And this also reminds me why the quote-unquote experts don't know everything and actually get a ton of things wrong. What do we hear from the experts all the time? Decline is natural as you age. You are guaranteed to get weaker, lose muscle, not be able to move, not be able to think clearly, etc., etc. You're essentially guaranteed to become a vegetable as you age. But what type of people are they talking about? The average.
Right in that meaty part of the curve.
And yes, it's true that most average people, after the age of 25 or even 30, stop sprinting, stop doing explosive exercises, stop jumping, stop challenging their minds, drink excessively, eat garbage. So what do you expect is going to happen to these people? But is this whole significant decline actually a guarantee as you age? Well, if Andy Nicholson's story shows us anything, the answer is a resounding no. So keep it up, Andy, I'm rooting for you. And you're someone who helps show me what's possible for me too, even as I'm only 29 years old. But it really excites me whenever I see someone who's getting better with age, because it shows us what's possible for our future. Next topic I want to get into. So as you guys heard in last week's episode, I gave you my top 5 rappers of all time list. And to refresh your memory, my list was Eminem, J. Cole, Drake, Lil Wayne, and Kanye, with also Mac Miller being super close, and I gave a bunch of honorable mentions as well. Now, my criteria for my favorites right now is going to be different from my all-time greatest list. So the greatest of all time list also considers longevity and popularity, as well as probably subconsciously some public opinion in there as well. And 2 others may also consider it to be the greats list. My top 5 rappers right now, though, on the other hand, are going to be more about my subjective opinion.
It doesn't matter what you people think!
Where I'm at in my life and where I'm at with my whole current music listening journey, as well as recent findings. And also keep in mind, I'm going to be mainly going off the past year to 3 years to 5 or 7 years, I guess, and who's making the best music still, who has the most playable songs, fire raps, fire rhymes, best bars, and who has the most talent, etc., etc. So my current top 5 are Connor Price, Logic, Big Sean, Joyner Lucas, and Chris Webby, with also Big X the Plug on the edge of that, and I will also give some honorable mentions. So first up, Connor Price has been on the rise over the past few years. His flow is amazing, his rap style is really cool, and he's just super talented in my opinion. Fun fact also, he's also an actor, and he was a child actor in the movie Cinderella Man. I also love his collabs with Hoodie Allen, who also happens to be one of my honorable mention favorites, and also his collabs with Nick D, another super talented rapper and artist. Next up we have Logic. He was an honorable mention for my top 5 ever list, and he's definitely one of my all-time favorites. However, for as many amazing songs as he has, and his speed and skills unreal, especially on songs 100 Miles I'm Running and Stainless, and also his album The Incredible True Story happens to be one of my all-time favorite albums. For as many amazing songs as he has, he does have a lot I don't like, but he is still one of my current top 5.
Ripping and living and strapping and killing and ripping, we're going and flowing, and he was swimming and doing and moving and grooving and stepping and rocking.
Next up, Big Sean. So his songs have always been super inspiring, he puts together incredible lyrics, and he's always been super motivational for me. Whether it's songs So Much More, or Harder Than My Demons, or more recently, Precision, or also he has a song with Will Smith called Beautiful Scars, his newer song Active with Joyner Lucas, or his verse on Sharks with Jelly Roll and Lil Wayne is amazing too. He's awesome and has ton of great mindset takes as well as spiritual perspective, which he shared on Jay Shetty's podcast before. Next up we have Chris Webby. So he's always been a bit under the radar, and some of that is probably because he's into conspiracy theories, as I am too. And we do of course share a bunch of similar beliefs, probably not all the same ones. But anyways, even if you take all that stuff away, he goes hard, and when you're talking about motivational hype songs that get you ready to go through a wall, he's got them. Whether it's songs like FSU, or Thunder, or Optimus Rhyme, etc., etc., he's got some incredible bars. Then my number 5 was either Joyner Lucas or Big X the Plug. I do think Big X the Plug can solidify his spot in there if he keeps going, but he's been a recent addition to my list with songs like Whip It and Hip Hop, and I do think he's crazy talented. But Joyner Lucas probably has a bigger library of great songs, whether it's Tantrum with Will Smith. And say what you want about Will, but I actually still like a bunch of Will Smith's raps and songs for the most part. Or you have off with Joyner's new album, you have the song White Noise, which I think is really good, and the song One of Them, which is absolutely fire. Now look, I also could have said the ones from my top 5 all-time list, especially with Drake, Lil Wayne, Eminem, or J. Cole, and I'm not saying any of them aren't up there, because all of them still are capable of making amazing songs and amazing music. It's just that in recent years, which was of course my criteria for this list, their songs haven't been at the top of my playlists, especially their newer songs, but of course that could change at any time. So I'm not saying any of them fell off by any means, and none of them are washed. I was also considering adding Russ to that list. I do think a lot of his songs are amazing, but he does also have a style of other songs that don't really resonate with me. B.O.B. someone who I listen to a lot, and I loved his Elements album that came out in 2015 I believe, but he also hasn't had a ton of recent stuff. I loved listening to Migos back in 2017 and into 2018, but that group has fallen off ever since Takeoff's death, and even a little bit before that. 2018 was the absolute peak. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on that list in the comments below. Next up, I want to read a post that I saw on Instagram the other day that really resonated with me as a content creator and as someone who does creative work. So the post said, 6 reasons not to delete the post with no likes. So I'm going to read this to you. Because you are creative, you share your work whether it is met with silence or applause. Because leaving it up is a radical refusal to measure your worth with external validation. Because someone might stumble upon it tomorrow and it may just change their life. Next up, because not everyone who was moved by your creation will have quote-unquote liked it, so you actually never know its impact. Because it is a visible act of defiance against a world that worships virality and the algorithm. Because you thought it was worth sharing, stand by the impulse. So this post was coming from an account called Inspired to Write. Very powerful stuff, and I really appreciate all those reminders. So this is a super powerful reminder as someone who's had several posts, and who's had and who still has a ton of experience, much more than I would like with this. And I also made a video recently on the Jared and James channel, where I spoke about why I don't hide my likes or view counts. In spite of having plenty of posts and videos with just a few views, or sometimes being the only person who liked my post or video.
It's not easy.
But there is so much truth and so much we learned from these slides. First off, you are not a content creator based on how many likes you get. You are a content creator, I believe, if you make consistent work, content that you believe in, and work super hard in it. Whether it gets 1 million likes or 1 million views, or just one, doesn't determine the value of the post. I mean, all of us have seen enough stupid posts blow up and go viral on all these apps, while I've also had and seen enough really great posts that go under the radar. So that can't be the only way to measure your success, or your only way of determining whether or not it's a good or bad post. I've also received plenty of comments telling me how my posts are helping them, or even changing their life.
Thank you again for saving my life.
And sometimes it's just going to be on a post that only has a couple likes, or barely any views. But that shows the impact, and if it helps just one person, then it's worth it to keep it up. And furthermore, if you are resilient, you're not allowing the algorithms or lack of views to stop you. You're focused on making content that you're proud of and that helps people, and that has the power to inspire, then you and I have nothing to be ashamed of. We're actually proving to ourselves that we value what we're doing, and we know and believe in the power of what we're doing, and we're maintaining faith that it will reach who it's meant to, maybe not right now, but at some point. And that speaks volumes about our character and our true influencer power. Now finally, before I get to this week's sports recap, I want to share a really powerful post coming from Andy Frisella, and the premise behind it is that some people have it easier, yes, but you actually have an advantage over them. Let's read this together. So the post reads, guess what? Some people will have it easier, some are born with more, some catch breaks, some won't have to suffer like you do, so effing what? That doesn't change what has to be done, it doesn't change the mission, it doesn't change the work required. Your job isn't to whine about fair, your job is to make yourself undeniable. They may have started ahead, but you're building persistence. They may have it easier, but you're obsessed. They may have a head start, but you've got grit they'll never understand. You don't need even footing. You need to develop unshakable determination and master the skills that are built through the struggle. Most people waste their lives waiting for the scale to bounce, waiting for help, waiting for the world to treat them equally. It never comes. Operators don't wait. They use what others would cry about as fuel. They build power out of pressure. They find edges in every disadvantage. Furthermore, these people with all the advantages didn't get lucky, you did, because the truth is, the ones who had it easy never had to learn to fight. You did. That's the real privilege. That's your leverage. That's your edge. That's the part they'll never be able to copy. And one day you'll meet that person who had it easier than you on the battlefield of life, and you'll effing destroy them. So stop watching their path. Stop trying to make it fair. Use the pain, use the hunger, use the frustration, use everything as a reason to rise further than they ever will. You don't want what they had. You've got what they never had and never will, the opportunity to build, and the privilege of learning all the knowledge and skill that journey teaches. The path you had to take is the ultimate unfair advantage. Leverage it or lose it. Very powerful stuff. So this also reminds me of a quote I heard years ago, which is that the people who land at the top of the mountain will never know what it feels like to have to climb and claw their way up for every inch, and to fight for it.
It's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch.
As Andy said, the ones who had it easy never had to learn to fight. And this is my whole perspective when it comes to my life and everything I've had to go through, as far as a life-threatening illness and subsequent healing journey, which I'm still on at the time of filming. And honestly, I've been an underdog my whole life. Whether as an undersized athlete, someone on a dunk journey at 5'6", going after all my sports and athletic and weight room goals, having a podcast as someone with current speech challenges. So you can see that I had and have all these disadvantages, but the one thing that I never lacked was the belief in my potential and knowing what I can do with the best work ethic and giving it enough time, and furthermore, I don't quit. So yes, I haven't had it easy on these journeys, but I've built up skills and determination and a rock solid mindset that people who've had it easier will never have to develop. Because when you don't quit and you see everything that happens to you as either a lesson or a blessing, every setback sets up the comeback, and your story is constantly being written, and it's going to be one hell of a success story that's going to inspire others for years to come, and you're going to be building that skill set that's bound to help you in any future endeavors. Sometimes you don't even see it right now, so you're just like, why am I going through this? Why can't I have it easier as these other people do? But then a few years go by, and you see like that all these challenges were molding you into the best person and the amazing person who you were meant to become. At least that's how I choose to view it. Anyways, time for this week's sports recap now. So first up we have the NFL recap of what I thought to be the most important games from week 2. So the Bengals rallied to beat the Jaguars even after Joe Burrow's toe injury, and Joe Burrow was arguably the top quarterback from last year, so he's going to be out for a while, so like this is going to be tough on the Bengals. Jake Browning actually played a pretty solid game overall, but he did throw 3 interceptions. Jamar Chase was incredible, he was so dominant, and in the game with a lot of turnovers, the Bengals did prevail. Now, I've been hearing some rumors out there that like the Bengals might be in trade talks with the Giants to get Jameis Winston. Now, let me just speak for every NFL fan when I say, make this happen. Jameis and Jamar, yes, it may be 30 interceptions, but that offense will also be like absolutely insane. It would probably be like 7,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and like 30 of those going to Jamar. And that's like barely even exaggerating. That would definitely be a super fun team to watch. Anyway, speaking of the Giants, probably in the best game of the week actually, and of course a surprising one, Russell Wilson had a major bounce back game, and he and Malik Neighbors were connecting on plenty of deep balls, and the Cowboys of course were matching that energy, with a ton of offense on their own, coming from Dak and CeeDee Lamb. Monster game from both offenses, which like I don't think anyone expects to happen, and Dallas pulls away in overtime. Next, out west, Mac Jones of the 49ers, filling in for Brock Purdy. Every time I've seen him filling that QB over the past 2 years, ever since losing the starting job, he puts together like super gritty performances, and he's a super tough football player. So he led the 49ers to a win over the Saints with 3 passing touchdowns. Jared Goff and the running back duo of the Lions, along with incredible star receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, were able to put up 52 points in a bounce-back game against the Bears, who yes, of course Caleb Williams hasn't been perfect, but from what I've seen, he does have flashes of potential and improvement. We'll see what happens like if he doesn't put it together fast enough. Although I think like that loss was actually more about their defense rather than their offense. Next, unfortunately, my 2 favorite elder statesmen, quarterbacks, Rodgers lost to the Seahawks, and while he did have like a few very sick throws, it wasn't exactly the same performance as week 1. Then of course Joe Flacco, who also doesn't have much help on that team. His Browns got crushed by the Ravens. I think the Browns' schedule was just like way too tough in my opinion. But Lamar Jackson's been like insanely good, and his team should be 2-0. Derrick Henry actually barely had like any rushing yards, and yet the Ravens still put up 41 points. On another note though, like Myles Garrett is an absolute unit on defense. I think he could probably play defense like all by himself and still give his team a chance. The Jets didn't look good at all this week against the Bills, who might be the best team in the AFC. And the Chiefs dropped to 0-2 in a tough loss against the Eagles. Now, is this a case of early season figuring things out and versing tough teams, of course, in the Eagles and the Chargers? Could be, or is their reign over? I'll be keeping a close eye on that as the season goes on. The Rams are still looking like a dark horse Super Bowl contender. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams are like a deadly trio. Those are some of the most like dangerous offensive weapons I've seen. The Broncos and Colts were involved in a shootout with Danny Dimes, aka Indiana Jones, prevailing as like he led the Colts to a 2-0 start. On Monday night, Baker Mayfield put together some fourth quarter magic to go for another comeback, as he led a game-winning drive with the help of Mike Evans, Bucky Irvin, and Rashad White, and his defense played really well too. Are the Chargers the team to beat in the AFC West? Justin Herbert has looked incredible. Keenan Allen is back where he belongs on the Chargers, and that defense is looking incredible, led by Derwin James and also Henley. And finally, in the Thursday night game, my Green Bay Packers are looking like an early Super Bowl contender right now too. That team has speed at every position, both on offense and defense. Mike Parsons has been great. Jordan Love is looking like an absolute stud. So if that team stays healthy, watch out. Now for this week's bonus NFL segment, I want to give my top 5 quarterbacks through 2 weeks. So number 5, we have Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdowns in week 1, 2 in week 2, and of course a fourth quarter comeback. Not only is Baker showing like he's a winner, but he's a great comeback story too. Just a few years ago, he was close to being out of the league and was going from team to team as a backup, and now the past 2 years, all he does is throw touchdowns and leads his team to wins. I mean, I'm pretty sure like over the past 2 years, he's either the NFL's leader or second place in passing touchdowns, which is insane. Next up, number 4, I gotta go with Daniel Jones, aka Indiana Jones. I don't think anyone saw this coming going into this year. I think everyone was actually making fun of the whole Colts QB situation, and for taking a chance on the discarded Giants quarterback. But as often happens, when you put a player with solid attributes in a better situation with better protection, better offensive line, and a really good run game, it makes all the difference. So, the opportunity that like you're placed in matters too. Number 3, I gotta go with my favorite team's QB right now, Jordan Love. Currently up to 480 yards and 4 touchdowns with no picks, and he's gone up against 2 really good defenses from last year. Number 2, who could very easily be number 1, Lamar Jackson. So he currently holds the highest QB rating in the regular season of all time in NFL history. This guy is like regular season Thanos. The question is though, will it eventually lead to a Super Bowl? I feel like it has to at some point, especially with Derrick Henry on that team. But this guy is currently up to 434 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, no picks, and a ton of rush yards and touchdowns too. And at number 1, only because he beat the Ravens, I gotta go with Josh Allen, last year's NFL MVP. So stat-wise, he might not have the most touchdowns, but he has thrown for over 500 yards, his passer rating's super high, and like he's leading his team to wins. Now this list can change at any time, and I might revisit this periodically throughout the season. To be clear also, look, I could have very easily said Justin Herbert in that mix too. He's been incredible, and he definitely belongs in there, but we're going to reevaluate that list soon enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, for my MLB coverage and thoughts, the NL wildcard race is currently heating up between the inconsistent Mets, and then of course you had the surging Giants, but they actually just got passed by the Diamondbacks. It's looking like the Mets should hold on to that spot, but of course you never know with that team. Roster-wise, that team should be like one of the best in the MLB, and now they have a series coming up with the Padres, which could decide their season. The Giants were super hot, but like have cooled off a bit recently, and they're now neck and neck with the D-backs, but of course both teams may end up being out of the mix. Anyways, one massive bright spot for the Mets has been rookie pitcher Nolan McClean. He's been historically unreal through 6 starts. To have an ERA of 1.19 and under 1 whip is absolutely insane. The Mets have themselves a good one. Next up, Nick Kurtz, another rookie on the A's, has been doing big things ever since getting called up, and he's been one of the best hitters not only as a rookie but like in the whole MLB. He currently has the second highest OPS by a rookie in this century. He also hit the longest home run of the season last week, 493 feet, and has 32 home runs in his last 89 games. As a rookie, and he's batting over 300. And finally, now we have probably my overall favorite player in the MLB, on my favorite team, Aaron Judge, who's back to doing Aaron Judge things. He's looking like he's kicking back the crown in this year's MVP race in the AL from Cal Raleigh, but like of course it's going to be a tight finish. Judge is back up to 48 homers, and has been on a tear recently for my Yankees who've been playing much better. He also has over 100 RBIs, a 325 average, and like an OPS of 1.126. He's the MVP in my book if he gets to 50 plus homers. Anyways, that's my sports recap for the week. Let me know your thoughts down below. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed all the topics. Let me know your thoughts on any of the topics in the comments below. If you guys like what you heard, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Peace.